The fish are seeing a lot more pressure. They're becoming smarter. So we have to adapt, basically the techniques that we use to catch the fish. Using lighter lines, different leaders, we have all this high-tech material. Running the extra distance to get them when everybody else doesn't want to go out. You know, I'm always willing to go a little bit further than most people would. Going that extra 15, 20 miles when it's blowing 25 miles an hour. It's one of the great things about what we do is you can never say, I've got it. Because it just can't happen. It's a sport that's constantly evolving. One of the reasons why Florida Keys is such a phenomenal fishery is it has everything. There's small reef patches out on the outside of the islands that there's bonefish and permit, tarpon that migrate there, which is really unique. A lot of places in the world, you have to travel long distances to see all three species. Fishing's changed down here in the Florida Keys in several ways over the past few years. A lot more tourism. There's a lot more guides. You could pull up to a flat and somebody's already hit it 3 times that day.
Yeah, I'd almost rather go to a spot that has less fish on it, but nobody there, than go to a spot that's covered up in fish and there's 10 boats on it, because those fish aren't going to want to play. Great to show people fish, but I'd rather go somewhere where we can whack them.
We're having to go a lot further. You know, for example, some of the most famous permit flats known are within 1.5 miles to 2 miles from Key West, where now we're running 25 to 30 miles. Fish aren't there, you're running back another 15, 20 miles to the next spot. You know, at the end of the day, it can really make you tired. You know, because we're having to run longer distances and really go out these fish in different ways, the gear allows us to be out there longer.
Right off your rod.
Got a swirl, one just splashed right here next to my bottom. If I miss one of these, I'm never gonna hear the end of it. Staying lightweight and cool, it just kind of keeps you in the zone, because once your mind goes, everything starts to fall apart. I think the biggest future I see in performance fishing is going to be conservation. People becoming aware of catch and release policies a lot more.
Back in those days, we didn't realize there was limits to fish, and we brought in everything that could. We didn't realize we were part of the problem.
The only safe tarpon is a stuffed tarpon.
They used to kill everything. And that was how they got booked. When the boat rolled in at the end of the day, they hung everything up, and people walked up and down the docks booking a charter, and whoever had, you know, the best catch hanging, I was like, oh man, we're going fishing with him tomorrow. We kind of have to start looking at the bigger picture, and this isn't an endless supply.
To preserve this for future generations, it all comes down to us. We're at a point now where people really need to be aware of what's happening, and if they don't change it, there's not going to be much fishing to be done. If this reef dies, if the mangroves die, if one thing dies, it's going to knock the whole ecosystem out, and then what is Key West? It's just a rock. You know, this beautiful spot we have out here is why everybody comes here.
Và Sandy nó giống ông ngoại đó. Nó thích đi câu. Nó là dòng máu của ông ngoại, dòng máu của tôi. Cuộc đời của tôi là thích đi câu cá. Thành ra con Sandy nó mới cũng thích về cái tính của nó giống ông nội nó.
Fishing is in my blood. It's been in my family for generations. On my mom's side has fish farms, and my dad's side, they've been fishing off this coast forever, even to this day. It means a lot to me coming back here and seeing how hard it is for them to sustain this kind of lifestyle where I'm back in the States fishing for sport and releasing fish. We are on a boat somewhere between Nha Trang and Phan Thiết, Vietnam, trying to find some fish, but all the fish are in the farm. So there's actually not any fish that we can actually go and target. This is where my grandparents ended up after the war. The craters that the B-52 bombs created, he created a farm around the ponds. Asia is very fished out. Just seeing the nets all over the place kind of breaks your heart. I wouldn't see anything like that in the United States. It's impossible to find any kind of game fish out here because of all the pressure that they're getting from development.
But what we've learned is that here in the Seychelles, the value of a fish is worth more alive than a dead fish. If you can preserve an area, it's worth way more than having an area which is decimated. The outer islands of the Seychelles are pristine and unique because the deep water starts very close to the flats. The diversity of species on offer is such that you won't catch anywhere else. There's no sort of pressure from humans. At the end of the day, when you get to hold something up that's really pretty or big or vicious, there's nothing better. You come out to these places and you see it's wild, untouched, pristine, how big species have been frozen in time, and you'll understand. To get to the Seychelles, you're going to have to catch 2 flights to get to Marhead. You're then going to get in a private plane and fly an hour to Alphonse. Once you're at Alphonse, you're going to get in a small tender boat and get onto the mothership. Once you're on the mothership, you're going to get onto your skiff. And from there, you're going to jump on the flats and fish. There's no blind casting. Here we're fishing for fish which we see.
Nice fish. You tracked it a little bit.
And you see the trigger fish or you see the permit and you present to that fish. So once you make the cast, you either spook him or he turns around and has a look at it. Sometimes you get him and sometimes you don't. We don't allow any terminal tackle fishing on the reef itself, so any game fishing we do is offshore. We only fish in deeper than 80 meters, and that's why we don't put any pressure on the resident fish. All the fish that we catch, the pelagic species, we keep. And that way we don't put any pressure on our dive sites, we don't put any pressure on for the catch and release fishery. And we don't have to buy fish from anywhere around the world and put pressure on anyone else's fishery. And we're responsible in the way we rotate the areas. We don't fish one area too much. That's what it's all about in keeping a healthy area. Having these places as they are, you know, things are changing rapidly over the years. What scares me is not being able to preserve this place. Are these places going to be around for our children to fish?
But with the Seychelles, the rules and regulations towards overfishing, it's pretty strict.
It's catch and release, barbless hooks, only hold the fish up for a certain amount of time, let it go back after a fight and release it. And if everybody can do their little bit and preserve an atoll like Alphonse, I think it'll go a long way for the future and for our children, that they'll be able to come here and fish.
Here. It's sketchy as hell. I understand about 50% of what he says. It's a good way to get your finger bitten off.